Howdy. Lao Shi Lawrence McElroy here for Water Tiger School of Taijiquan. It is another Monday. Well, it's a Monday for you. It's Friday for me. We pre-record these sessions these days, but this will post on both our Facebook page and our YouTube channel on Monday, March 8th at 10 a.m. This is our 46th session of Water Tiger for Sachem, and we talk about the fact that it may be our last. So don't, just take it easy. So anyway, so there's that, and I guess that's where I need to start. And that is, we have always considered that our program has been suspended at Sachem Public Library, which is one of the reasons we have done these every week, almost every week during the pandemic. But we found out this week that they now have a remote Tai Chi program at Sachem Public Library. And needless to say, it's not us. So we don't know what's going on. We have asked. We have not heard anything back as of this day, Friday, March 5th. So maybe I will know. We'll have notice by the time this posts on Monday. So watch this page, and that means both on Facebook and on YouTube for news. When we know more, you will know more. But anyway, so there's where that stands. So we'll see, regardless, if these weekly Monday sessions at 10 a.m. do go away, we will still keep doing things on our YouTube channel on a relatively regular basis and still fill in some of the gaps in things that are in process in this series as just sort of standard YouTube videos. But they won't be weekly. So anyway, so there you go. There's that. I just want to point out that a year ago this week, I was on holiday. I do class notes for my classes. This is the my session notes from our last session that got suspended and then canceled. The session itself had gotten canceled at Sachem. So it was March 2nd, I think, was our last time in the community room. And our first class back was to be the 16th. But they suspended the rest of the classes in March initially while I was on holiday. So we got stopped a week before our guided meditation. And I was wondering about that yesterday, exactly where we were, because part of me remembered that we had done the guided meditation, but we hadn't. I just prepped for it and pulled the temple story I was going to tell and all that. But that was a year ago, and we started these on Monday, March 23rd of 2020. By the way, just a reminder, we just passed the 19-year mark being affiliated with Sachem Public Library. Our first class there was on Monday, February 25th of 2002. So we've been there a while. So there you go. Today, I'm going to change gears. I'm going to turn up the mood here a little bit because we're going to have some fun. Fun till whatever. However, you may need, I'm probably leaning the wrong way. I always do that. Like a broomstick, because you probably all don't have, a 6-foot Marshall staff in your collection. You may also have the red one, if you can tell that it's red, the longer one is actually a decorative staff. We're going to use those to help facilitate our upper body stretch in this workshop today. And then the lower body stretch, you probably, after you see what I'm doing, maybe hit pause, maybe carry your device with you to like a step or something where you can hold onto a railing. I'm going to use a couple of bricks and probably a chair so I don't fall over for our lower body stretch. Kind of really focusing on the calves, calf strength, ankle, Achilles, flexibility, that sort of thing. but we'll get there. We won't do much of an aerobic warm-up, just sort of move a little bit. And then the fun will be yet another combined posture walk taken from a couple of postures in the 24 posture form. It will be fan back or fan forward through the back into parry and punch. And we'll go back and forth between the two sides. So you get a little, sort of mixing stuff up. Plus, get to play with a couple of postures that are only done once in the 24, which is one of the reasons we developed this series of combined posture walks, mostly based on postures that are only done once in the 24 posture form. So there you go. There's the news. We can't do one of these without sort of talking about where we are with the coronavirus pandemic. And generally, things are looking hopeful, but there's a lot of stuff going on across the country that stands a really good chance of turning up the volume on the pandemic again. So please, your 3 W's: wear a mask, watch your distance, wash your hands. So there you go. There's that. Remember, as far as our status with Sachem goes, just watch the page for an announcement. When we find out more, you'll find out more. That sort of thing. So I'm just going to start with a little shake. This will be all we do for aerobic warm-up. It's just maybe a little shake, a little bounce. Not going to do any running, not going to do any jacks. Unless I change my mind in the next 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nope, we're going to stay with this. Maybe some twisters, little floppy arm turns. This feels good. So if this does happen to be the last of these workshops, it couldn't have been more timely, because I think I am pretty much at the end of my t-shirts which have not made an appearance, that are, appropriate more or less to make an appearance. Though I think there's one more that I've been saving that I haven't worn. Well, I know there's one more that I've been saving that I haven't worn. But this is the last in the St. Jude collection from those times we were doing the fundraisers for St. Jude at Village of Patchogue's Alive After 5. So a little bit different design than the previous two. But anyway. So another warning, Will Robinson. When it comes to using a staff to help facilitate your stretch, you're going to have leverage with how you're using the staff. And that leverage can push things deeper in the stretch than you can go, faster than you might assume. So you have to be very, did I mention very careful. So again, I have this decorative staff, right? And maybe you have one of those in the house, and you have like a big pot with a bunch of big colorful sticks sticking out of it. They work fine for this, right? Broomstick, dowel, something like that. If you don't, then just do the stretch sort of the regular way, I guess. We're going to do a couple of variations here. I think I'll be okay with this roof. What roof? It's a ceiling, Lawrence, a ceiling. So we're just going to do 2 stretches with this, but there are, variations on those stretch. But the staff, the broomstick, should be in this position. And the first stretch is a torso twist. So if you don't have a staff, then so you sort of have the arm position, you do this. Keep your hips in position. So you're doing sort of a variation on the Tai Chi Qigong stretch, where we have the hands in this position and we twist above the hips. But now we have this pull that will help. I did not realize I still have a breath mint. Let me finish it. Because if I start to choke, it will be entertaining. So my feet are shoulder wide, and as I'm turning, I'm using the hand on the forward part of the staff that's turning toward the device, to sort of press. There's the lever because my other hand is also palm forward. So it's taking the brunt of that to be a little bit deeper. That was a weird little hop. I hope I'm okay. And the stretch. But see, my hips are still forward, mostly. Release. And to the other side. Not quite as flexible on this side. So again, I'm using the hand that's closest to the device, pressing, which then creates pressure against this backhand, which is also palm against the staff. And release. Maybe an inhalation in through the release, an exhalation into the turn. An inhalation into the release, an exhalation into the turn, an inhalation into the release, an exhalation into the turn, an inhalation into the release. So the last one, 3 pairs, 6 total. And then coming back. And then also, on that model of the Tai Chi Qigong stretch, remember we do this twist, coming to the center, twist, coming to the center, then we arc. So, using the staff this way, I'm going to have the palms down, pressing down. I'm going to go to my left first. I didn't do the X yet on my shirt, so this is my left side. So pressing down on that left side. So now the torso is kind of like a teeter-totter. And the person is at the bottom of the teeter-totter on that side, and release. Again, you want to be very, very careful when you're using something like this to help facilitate the staff, because we're stronger than we are flexible. And that strength combines with the leverage, and you can very easily push yourself beyond your range of motion. So I'm really exploring, especially on this side especially, there's a little catch there, and I am exploring to see if that's the catch that is the end of my flexibility, and it seems to be. I have the strength to really bear down and go beyond that point, but I think I'd be walking crooked for a while if I did that. This is 3 of 6. Release. 4 of 6. Release. 5 of 6. Release. And 6 of 6. Release. So, by the way, you can get, if your staff or your broomstick isn't as long as this, hey, I should have done this at the beginning. I'm sorry, but now you have it. If it's shorter, then, the twisting version, I'm bringing my palms in, folding my elbows. If I have a shorter staff, boom, and boom, and boom, and boom. So you can make something that's a little bit shorter work. But anyway, again, be very, 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 very careful of the leverage and judge accordingly. So there are the staff stretches. You probably, when I started talking, and I said I was going to use bricks, and you could use a stair step, I mean, you really want to make sure that you have something that will help you hold your balance as you do these. And keep in mind, whenever you're doing something that involves a calf raise, that it will not feel too strenuous as you do it. So when I first started doing calf raises a long time ago, I was like pounding them out. It's like, wow, I'm just going to keep going until I can't do them anymore. Yeah, I couldn't walk for a few days. So this is a little bit low for me for this particular exercise, but I'll make it work. So I am setting these bricks here. I want something solid, which is why I normally talk about, at a step. And I'm going to set the balls of my feet. We didn't test this before, so I just want to make sure the bricks aren't going to flip on me. No, they won't. So you want something that you can press your heel down. So I have some, Achilles flexation. So my heel is like way below. It's actually touching the towel that these things are setting on when I'm doing this. But you want to do this in two directions. You want to do the press down and the raise up. And I very, 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 very strongly suggest that you do just 2 feet to start with. And you really do want to press. You got your weights, but then you want to activate the leg muscles to sort of press the heels down toward the floor. And then do the counter stretch up as high as you can on the balls of the feet. And then down. And this is really interesting for me as we shoot this, because we had a heavy leg night in the studio last night. The Qigong class did the 9 temple exercises. And when it's in the Qigong class, we do a lot more reps of the various exercises than we do when we do the 9 temple exercises in a public space. Down, I don't know how many of these to do. I think I'm going to do 5 pairs, so 10 total. I believe this is the 3rd pair. So really pressing down, really lifting up. So that was 4. Here's 5. And then once you get some strength and some flexibility in the calves and the Achilles, I can also feel this right at the base of my hamstrings, at the top of my knees. Then, that was the last time down, this is the last time up. Then maybe you go 1 foot. So I'm just kind of hooking the other foot, and it happens to be my left foot around my right ankle. And then I'm just going to do a couple of these. Anyway, we did the 9 temple exercises in the Qigong class, and we did a time-expanded breathing set that ran for nearly 50 minutes in the regular Tai Chi class. So at one point in the early morning, I think it was around 5 o'clock, I happened to wake up. I think the cat shifted or something. And I just wanted to flex my feet, and I flexed my feet. I got a calf cramp in this left calf. I felt a twinge a little bit when I started these, but you know what? It feels better now. So again, where you have the railing on the steps, and just at the bottom step, that's where you might want to do the press down and the lift up. And start with 2 feet, not just the 1. So there you go. Little upper body, little lower body. By the way, the reason I have these bricks are, Shaolin Chin catching brick hand exercises. You can tell I haven't done those in a while. There's a video, by the way, on the YouTube channel. Advanced Shaolin Chin hand exercises. So, we need to know a few things here. We need to know what water tiger shoulder width is, which is why the blue lines are here. Now, as we do this walking exercise, it looks like that one's curved. As we do this walking exercise, I'm going to ignore the blue lines because I'm going to be sort of all over the place the way this walking exercise unfolds. But our shoulder width is determined by where our heels are. So if I'm in my, standard sort of neutral ma bow and not a low ma bow horse stance, where the drop of my shoulders are, it's going to split the heel in that side in half. Same on the other side. What's he doing now? He's wandering all over the place. Yeah, I'm a little scattered this week. I wonder why. So, I've been mentioning somebody from another program, which just ended. Our public class program for another library had its last class, the last Tuesday in February. Someone requested this so they could always know what my left side is. So, it might come and go in the frame. So this is our shoulder width. The thing is, one of the postures we're going to be inside our shoulder width, but for parry and punch, we're in shoulder width. And a four stance in Water Tiger School's approach to the four stance, or the mountain climbing stance, we're going to turn that heel of the back foot. Now again, there's the X, so this is my left side. I'm turning my right foot out to around a 45-degree angle. Straight forward to straight out is a 90-degree angle. Every time we do the Tai Chi stance, I do this. I know, we're quite aware. We just did this review last week, but in case somebody's tuning in for the first time, it's good to review. Forward to straight to your side is a 90-degree angle, so somewhere around halfway in between. Note the language that I use, somewhere around halfway in between. Yes, 45 is ideal, but maybe you can't have it there. Other foot stays on its railroad track, even though it looks curved. It doesn't only look curved, it is curved. Boom, and is a little bit closer to the device. So the heel of my right foot is farther away from my device than the heel of my left foot. I'm going to square off the hips here. Chest sunk, back rounded, chin from parallel, slight tuck down. And by the way, standard in the form, the punch is with the right hand, and some people will punch toward the center line. We punch perpendicular to the body. So the proximal phalanges of the closed fist, and this is a closed fist. This is a thumb breaking technique. This is a other breaking technique. This breaks your own thumb. This breaks things of your opponent. And the parry hand is right beside. It becomes a backhand parry in the sequence. So left toes in our four stance, forward or in. In four stance, you do not want to have the toes out and away from your center line, out at an angle like the back toes are. Not even a slight angle. You want those toes forward or in. The knee will be supported. About 70% of my weight's on my front foot, about 30's on my back. Can't tell you how many times in the last couple of weeks I've had people say, oh, I was really had too much weight in my front foot. And it's like, well, how much weight did you have there? Well, I wasn't 50-50, I was like 70-30. And it's like, you're not supposed to be 50-50 in forward moving stance. So knee over ankle, safest. I'm going to turn sideways for a moment. Knee over the top of the foot, okay. Knee over beyond the toes, not good. Notice I do that with my left leg, but I'm not going to do it with my right. Boom. There's parry and punch. Parry. You're going to come up, parry and punch. Backhand parry and punch. Other side, just to set the foundation of the posture. Left toes, again, somewhere out around a 45. Not at the wall to the left side of my space, not to the device, the front wall of my space, but about halfway in between. Not necessarily aiming for the corner of the room, right? That only works when you're in one particular spot away from the corner of the room. You have to judge on the direction you're going. You can't use an external point to determine where things should be. Because if I'm walking this way, then my toes are pointed the direction that I am walking, not to my device, not to a particular corner of the room. No, it's based on the direction I am facing. So again, right toes forward or in, and the knee will be supported. Right knee, safest over the ankle, okay over the top of the foot, not okay over or beyond the toes. 70-30, can be 60-40. Don't want to really get much less than 60, then you're not quite forward enough. Much more than 80-20, then you're a little bit too forward. Right, so here it's going to be the left hand. There are the proximal phalanges. You know it's my left because there's the X. And there's the parry hand. So you're going to be moving into it. Parry, backhand parry, and punch. Wide. So that's actually the second posture in the walk. The first known as fan back, or sometimes fan forward through the back. For Water Tiger School, it's more or less what we would refer to as a single whip stance. So for lack of a better way of describing it, it's Tai Chi's version of a T stance. And a T stance is where the back foot, you might know it if you do yoga. Yoga would be considered a T stance for Warrior 2 because the back foot is perpendicular straight across the room and the front foot is toes forward. So you bring that heel and you form a T. But Tai Chi's version, I'm inside shoulder width, but I'm more narrow. My back foot's still at a 45. My front foot is still toes forward or in. Prefer forward here, not out. And that's our position for single whip. Now, in all reality, our position for fan back in the 24 is going from here and a little twist of the torso forward and in the direction of the back leg. So I'm going to twist forward and to the right. And notice here that both of my hands are on the right side of my body. They are aligned in such a way that you could almost see, hey, there could be a staff between them. So, were you to do this next to a wall, your hands, can't quite get to the wall, it's not quite good enough, there we go, here, this will do it, are on that wall, but my toes are not. So a lot of people will end up right straight out in front of them or tilted. You want to get that twist, which means it was a good thing we did that little torso twist with the staff. That's fan back, or fan forward through the back. The other side, same thing. If I do single whip on this side, and go back through the history, we've done both a single whip walk and a single whip through a parent opening sequence, sort of comparison shopping for different approaches in Tai Chi, and as a walk. So if I'm in single whip on this side, boom, I do that twist. Now my left foot is my back foot. So I'm twisting into my left foot. So my hands are on my left. There's that alignment. Boom. So that's the first posture. The first posture actually takes place in the opposite direction. And then we twist, and there's sort of, it's referred to as a twist step. A lot of people will call it maybe deflect downward, twist step, parry and punch. We call it deflect downward, back fist, parry and punch. There's still a twist step in it, but because of the way you're moving on your feet, you're not really twisting. Sort of you are. I mean, you're twisting in your torso, especially in Water Tiger School's Tai Chi, because we use a lot more Tian-Si than others do. Come from a long line of retentive people, and that little curve was driving me nuts. Correction. I was allowing that little curve to drive me nuts. So the twist step, you're in this single whip stance, facing back. I'm going to turn, deflect down, make one big sweeping movement. I bring my, in this case, left toes around, sort of pigeon-toed. Second time, raise the ball of my right foot. This is going to be a back fist right as it hits the target, which is right even with your temple. Boom. And notice I'm sort of at this lock position with the back foot still flat. So I bring the back heel up off the ground. And I'm turning on the ball of the back foot, the heel of the front foot. And there's the end of my twist. Here's my preparation. I step. There's my backhand parry. There's my punch. Casual closing. So, there's a lot going on there. I'm making sure my feet are on camera. Boom. Turn, deflect downward. Those left toes come in, I'm pigeon-toed. Turning on the right heel. Back fist, continuing to turn on the right heel while turning on the ball of the left heel. Here's the twist in my torso. I'm chambering my right hand, getting ready to punch, but the fist closes at back fist, reopens. I step, parry and punch. Again, just making sure my feet are on camera. Oops, probably should do this here. Boom. Turn, I'm pigeon-toed. I was deflect downward, both palms down. There's the back fist. There's the turn on the right heel, the left ball of foot. There's my step into shoulder width stance, parry and punch. So that's the sequence. To get from one side to the other. So you can do another fan back and another parry and punch to the other side. So I'm here. I parried and I punched. I'm going to separate fist. I'm probably going to step that foot around. See what I did there? Parry and punch. Uh-oh, I think I just screwed up. Boom. No. Boom. Separate fist. Step. Fan back. Turn. Deflect downward. Back fist. Parry and punch. Some reason I thought there wasn't a separate fist. But there needs to be a separate fist because that creates that step for you. And then you need that step. I'm here. I could separate fist. Do that and make a correction in the foot. And that's okay. But it's a little bit easier for you if you place that foot a little bit closer to being even with that foot. Boom. Turn, deflect downward. Back fist. Don't fall over. Parry and punch. Separate fist. Reset that foot. Bend back. Turn, deflect downward. Back fist. Parry and punch. And close. And shut off your reminder to get your steps in. Reset it here. These things are supposed to have an internal reminder, but for some reason mine doesn't work. So I just remind myself every 3/4 of the hour to check my steps, make sure I've got them in for the hour. So that transition is tricky. Not that the two postures themselves are a picnic, but boom. And there's your fan back. Notice I'm not in that traditional vertical alignment, crown point of the head, base of the pelvic bowl. In the line between the ball of the foot, I have this twist. Other people, of course, do it differently. Parry and punch. Parry and punch. Parry and punch. Parry and punch. Notice I'm not out here. There's a big, steep angle to that upper arm. I still have a lot of room left for that little jog and separate fist. But the transition to the other side, this is what gets people caught up. They won't have a challenge doing fan back turn, deflect downward, back fist, and parry and punch on the other side, where they won't have so much of a challenge. But it's getting that transition from one side to the other. Do your parry and punch, do your separate fist, shift that foot, do the circle, boom. The circle that becomes a straight line, just like in our lineage, turn, deflect downward, back fist, parry and punch. So you're in parry and punch on the other side. Oops, parry and punch on the other side, he said. Separate fist. That separate fist then becomes that shift of that foot, pigeon-toed, fan back. Turn, deflect downward, back fist, parry and punch. Parry and punch. Separate fist, step, boom. Turn, deflect downward, back fist, parry and punch, separate fist. There's that step, boom. So, walking toward the camera for a couple of steps, away from the camera for a couple of steps, and we'll call it a morning. So that means if I'm going to walk toward the camera, I have to start with my fan back to their side. And I want to get into it in sort of a tai chi-like fashion. So I'm going to start with my weight in my left foot. I'm going to turn that right foot out to the 45. I'm going to settle into a little bit of a twist, step that left foot forward, start sort of arcing up, and then drive the hands straight back. There's the fan back. There's the turn, deflect downward. Notice the palms of both hands, deflecting downward. Back fist, twisting through, step, parry and punch, separate fist, setting that foot, getting it to the 45, rounding down, rounding up, driving a straight line back. There's fan back. Turn, deflect downward, back fist, twist step, turning on the right heel, the left ball of foot, left palm has opened now, step through to my shoulder width, backhand parry and punch. I almost said back fist again. Boom. Now were I to take another step, there's that separate fist, which then resets that foot. But really, in this walk and the current device setting, I can only get in about 2 steps. So one more pass, both sides, going away from the camera. So that means I have to start facing the camera. I'm going to get another drink. And we'll call it a morning. Well, morning for me, because it's Friday morning, March 5th. But this will post on Monday morning. Of course, when I say morning, I mean morning for New York Standard Time. Don't forget, the 14th, right? So this coming Sunday is the switch back to daylight savings time. We lose an hour, right? Spring forward. I just sprung to the side, so go me. So I'm in, remember, single whip stance with a twist. Sounds like a cocktail. Move a little bit closer. Maybe a little bit farther away. Turn, deflect downward. I am now pigeon-toed. Bring the weight back into the left foot. That was the deflect down. Starting to turn on the right heel, feeling where my range of motion is. As soon as I get to that sort of, before I get to the lock position, as I start to run out of space, I'm going to then start rotating on the ball of foot 2, back fist at the height of my temple. All the weight's in my right foot, stepping into my left 4 stance position, wide, not long, not in front of the right foot, but over to the left side. Backhand parry with the left hand, punch. Separate fist, reset that left foot, I'm pigeon-toed. Arcing around, driving straight, fan back, turn, deflect down, pigeon-toed. Turning on the heel of the left foot, back fist at the height of my temple, snaps back open, Turning on the ball of the right foot when I have to. Left foot set at the 45. Chambering into that left hip, setting the right foot down at shoulder width. Backhand parry, punch, and close. Because I do not have room to do 2 more steps. Boom. So there you are. Little combo posture walk. We usually refer to these as posture combination walks. So this is the fan back to parry and punch combo walk. Taken from Water Tiger School's approach to the 24 posture short term. We do not use the word standardized anymore because, as we have shown from time to time, and for that fact, anytime anybody tunes in that has a different approach, everybody does this stuff differently. Diversity is not a weakness, it's a strength. And as long as it makes sense for them, the way they're doing it, go you. This is what works for us. It's a thing for Water Tiger because it's a thing for me that we like shaking things up. There was a post last week that we shared on the Facebook page. And I think the article link was where I read it. It's more than forms. Form, sort of sets the foundation. And it's what comes after you learn the form, not the form itself, that really makes Tai Chi an art and a martial art in particular. So you have to take it apart. You have to explore. You have to do things differently to really find out what the magic is in Tai Chi. And, form is not fighting. It helps create the foundation that you can then build on. But if you want to learn combat, you have to do combat. You can't know how to fight just simply because somebody showed you the basic martial technique application of parry and punch. Oh, look, I know how to block. Oh, look, I know how to punch. If you've never blocked a real punch coming at you, if you've never really hit another human, nope. So there you go. I don't want to end on the same sour note on which we began, so I'm not going to really talk about that too much again. But you'll know more as soon as I know more, and we'll see what happens. Worst case scenario, it won't be this series, but some of the same kind of stuff that we've been doing, we'll be making periodic appearances on our YouTube channel, which means we will also post links to those videos on our Facebook page. So again, 3 W's, wear a mask, watch your distance, wash your hands. Don't start backing away from that too soon. There's just too much going on. So thanks. Take care. Be aware. Be safe. Be well.